So it's starting to rain today, but we're going to start doing some work to the 1971 Chevrolet C20. So I've had her for 2 years and I haven't done much to her. And if I don't work on it, it ain't going to work for me. So we're going to get to it. I'm going to show you what we got going on. This is on the docket of things to do today. Hopefully the weather holds out. It's starting to sprinkle here a little bit. Anyway, let me get you in here and show you what we're doing. So we got a couple of things we got to do. When I bought it, it didn't have one of those on there, and it just blows my mind that somebody would take the time to put this back on and not that. Why would you put this on if that wasn't on there? As you can see, we're clearly missing a fan. Now, this is not the original. I bought this from Summit Racing. It's a universal replacement steel blade. I can't remember, but I think this is a 15 or a 17-inch fan. So that's one thing. The other thing we're gonna have to do is I gotta go to the part store. I need to get some more of these filters, and we got to put this block off plate back on here. That's the heat riser for a manual choke. The arm goes down there. There's a heat actuated spring, and then we're going to replace the gasket that goes right here, and then bolt the carb back down and try and get her fired up. We're also going to dump 5 gallons of fresh gas in the tank, and then a bunch of fuel stabilizer, because, well, the truck ain't going anywhere for a while, so we might as well get it, freshened up in there. The plan is this winter to get a bunch of work done. She needs brakes from the master cylinder all the way to the rear. We do have a rear disc conversion kit, all new stainless brake lines from Inline Tube. We got a master cylinder from Willwood. The rear disc conversion kit is from Performance Online. It's a kit that they offer, which fancy enough will actually bolt right into this truck too. So we've got options where to put that kit, but these are both 3/4 ton. So anyway, it's starting to rain. We're going to get some black RTV on this. We're going to pop that carb up so we can get it in there, get her bolted down. And then the bolts that go through here are, they got a 1/2 inch head on them. So this is just a piece of aluminum. Now, if you got a chunk of aluminum laying around about that thick, don't go buy one of these. Just cut it out, make your own. Because I think this little doodad here is, I want to say it's like $50, 40 or 50 bucks at the parts store, and that's if the store has it and doesn't have to order it in from Edelbrock. So, get the camera set up, and we'll pull that carb up a little bit, get this RTV'd and put on there. The goal for today, with the weather being the way the weather is to get the plate on, the carb mounted down with a new gasket, get some fresh fuel in there. We do need to top off the coolant, but we're going to do concentrate because we're going into winter time. I want to get this thing fired up and kind of get the coolant circulated. That way it's all good and good when it gets in the below freezing temps here, yeah? So we'll get the camera set up and we'll get you going with this. All right, so I ended up not getting footage of me putting that little block off plate on, but it's not a big deal. I thought I had a tube of black silicone RTV, and I did not. So I went to the parts store, and while I was there, I bought a few other accoutrements that this thing's going to need. So the plan is to get her winterized and keep her safe for when it gets below freezing here. So I'll show you what's going on. This is pretty self-explanatory. You do have to lift the carburetor off its mount, and you just coat the mounting surfaces on the intake, and I put some on the block-off plate itself, and then you just sandwich it down on top of that. And those are 1/2-inch head bolt heads, so no big deal. It's super easy. The most amount of work you're going to do to get to that is you have to completely unbolt this, but you don't have to take your fuel lines off or throttle springs, none of that stuff. It's literally 2 bolts. This is a spread bore gasket, which means that intake is, I believe, a 2101 Edelbrock, which this is no big deal because you can use a square bore carb or a spread bore with this. But the way this intake, let me see, is set up, so if you have a quadrajet and you don't have the money or means or whatever to buy a carburetor, or you just don't want to, you can put a spread bore on there, a quadrajet. So Edelbrocks are basically Carter AFBs, or they're styled after them. But this was the intake carburetor gasket I pulled off. It's actually not in too bad of a shape, but because it's off and we broke the seal, you can see it's imprinted in right there. We're not going to use that. Now, if you follow me to the lab, here is your square bore. It has 4 circle holes that are all identical. And then you have this, which also works with a square bore. So we're going to go with this one. So I'll use this as a backup, or we'll use this on the 71 down the road if it needs one, but I don't think it will. So super affordable. You can get these at O'Reilly. Comedic. Anyway, it's sponsored by NASCAR. So we're going to go do NASCAR at NASCAR trucks, and we're going to drive fast, and we're going to turn to the left a little sometimes. Danica and Patrick. All right, let's go put this gasket on and top off the coolant juice. We are going to use concentrate and not dilute it because we want it to make sure it doesn't freeze. Also, I want to show you a thing that I learned. I learned this today. So this here is the fan blade that I purchased to put on that truck. Well, what did a guy do with it now? This is the thermal clutch, fan clutch, that a guy bought for it. And I'll show you something here. You see this? So this mounts to your water pump pulley. Your fan mounts to this. What has to happen here is your fan has to slide over this thing. That whole big slotted circle. This does not have the hole to do it. This is just a fan, direct mount to the pulley. Now, that fan will work, but it will always turn with the engine at whatever the engine speed is, where this is a heat operated spring, and this will engage and disengage depending on how hot that is. So it'll work, but the fan is always going to be at whatever RPM the engine is. A couple of things. One, it's noisy. It'll give you a headache, drive you nuts, especially if you don't have a good radio. And two, more expensively, it's extra drag on your motor and it uses extra gas. And you know, in the 70s, if you got 8 miles to the gallon, you were living high on the hog. So, but we're in the roaring 20s, 2025, and I don't know about where you live, but gas is arm and a leg and 2 or 3 fingers here. So I do want to enjoy my rigs. I want them to stay cool and operate good, but I also already am spending a fortune to enjoy them. I don't want to spend more than I have to. It's all about saving money, folks. You need to save your money because these people don't care if you're broke or not, as long as they got their share of your money. Anyway, enough about that. So we're going to save this. We're going to save that. I have located the correct fan to go on this clutch. So once I get that fan for the correct fan for that clutch, then we will put those two together and put those on the 71. There we go. I'm guessing the most difficult one is going to be the one that holds the throttle cable bracket down. And the guy should probably go get a carburetor stud kit. But we're trying to save some money here, folks. Now, what the devil is going on here? All right, there we go. All right, the carburetor is back on. New gasket under it, block off plates on, heat riser block off plate is installed. Oh, that looks like it's way down there. Yeah, she's a little low. That's right. We got something to top her off. Then we'll see if we can get her fire up. We may have to boil the battery. I'm not sure yet. All right, we got the coolant topped off. Recap here. Carbs mounted back, new gasket, heat riser block off. That's all on there. Let's go see if she kicks over. And if I remember right, she was kind of a hard starting girl. So just in case, we got a can of Start You Bastard. All right. Neutral. Try and get some fuel pumped up. Oh, she turns over. See if the filter here has gotten any. Nah, not quite yet. We'll just see if she kicks over with some of this Start You Bastard. Oh, she fired. Oh, the oil gauge works. Well, I might have to pour some gas down the carburetor. So let me go see if I got some True Fuel or something. I don't think I have a gas can full, so let's find out. 50 to 1. That's all right. 2-cycle oil. This thing's been sitting for at least a year. So this will help lube up the upper cylinders. And all right, let's see. It's either too much or not enough, but we just want her to fire up. I'm actually surprised that the battery's still got a charge and kicking. Oh, she fired up. Yes. No. She wants to start. All right, let's try it again. Come on, what's the deal here? Well, the fuel filter is starting to get something in it, but you can tell that's not good gas. I think we're going to have to find some fresh gas for this. Yep. We got to find some fresh fuel. Sometimes the solution is dilution, so let's dilute the bad gas with some good gas. Well, she fired up. She's running. She definitely needs some work, though. You can hear her kind of go, woo, woo. I just noticed we don't have a catch can. I think a Sailor Jerry's bottle would be perfect for that. But we're burping. Get all the bubbles out. Gonna need some valve cover gaskets. See that oil down there? And she's a little smoky. We can't run her for too long because if you folks remember, there's no fan. So eventually she'll get hot and she'll start boiling, and we just don't want none of that. Right now she's still ice cold. So either that or the thermostat hasn't opened up yet. Well, she's getting warm. The lower rad hose has got some heat to it. The top rad hose is ice cold. You can see how she's burping there, puking out. Boiling over. Shit. I think we got a bad thermostat. And that is part of hot rodding, I suppose, making a big mess. Oh, wow. I wondered, did that thermostat ever actually open up, or no? She's still ice cold here, so we'll have to get a thermostat for this. No big deal. Well, folks, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Like I said earlier, we did locate the correct fan for this. It'll be about a week before we can get a hold of it. So we'll bring you back in once that is available to us. And we'll also do a thermostat at the same time and kind of try and get this thing tuned a little bit so she kind of runs on her own. But the upside is we do have some success because we went from varnish to not so varnish. We are going to replace this. We're going to put some fuel stabilizer in her for the winter, and we really need to get that to circulate so we can get her winterized. So thanks for watching, and stick around for part 2. Well, she fired up, she's running. She definitely needs some work though. You can hear her kind of go, woo, woo.